Welcome to the Real and Real Estate Podcast, your go-to show for real estate success. Whether you're an agent aiming to crush it or a buyer or seller wanting the inside scoop, we're here to deliver expert advice, insider tips, and the real talk you need. Each episode, we chat with top industry pros to give you the facts, strategies, and inspiration you need to thrive in this business. Let's dive in and make big moves together. Hi, welcome back to the Real and Real Estate Podcast, where we typically talk to experts in the field and get their opinions on the facts and the ones that need to be dispelled. This time today, we're just going to talk amongst ourselves. So we're going to talk about first-time home buyers. I just wanted to go over that again. I think I've done this in the past, but it's such an important category. And they're some of my favorite people to work with because they're so excited about everything that they're doing and what their possibilities are. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So first of all, you need to do your research, talk to a realtor, talk to a good realtor, someone that makes this their career, that is serious about it and is interested in helping you. And it doesn't matter if they've got 1 million clients or just a couple of clients. It needs to be someone that's interested in you and interested in actually working with you. Make sure they have the time to do that and the interest. Now, most people do, but you need to do your research. There's all kinds of people in every industry. So first do that. You can find, in our case on HAR, Houston Association of Realtors, we actually have a client survey section. And if they're participating in that, then you ought to know they're confident enough to get reviews. You can also Google as well. But those are two different options. And then, of course, you can talk to your friends and see who they've had a good deal with, good opportunity with. Second of all, you need to find a lender. If you don't already have one, your realtor should be able to recommend a couple that you can talk to. I think mortgage brokers have a lot of opportunities to work with you in different venues, or avenues, I guess is a better word, to find you the best deal and the deal that fits you the most and the best. There's all kinds of programs out there. There are conventional loans, which the majority of people get. There are FHA loans, which are great loans. They're a little more flexible oftentimes on the credit scores and the amount of money you need to put down. There's VA loans if you're a veteran or you qualify for a veteran loan. Those are amazing. Those are, no money down, basically. And find an expert that knows what they're doing with those because not everybody works with VA loans, but those are amazing. And then there are all kinds of special programs out there, some of which we've talked about on previous podcasts. So please check those out. There's some with down payment assistance. There was some with grants, all different ways to make this work for you. And I feel again, as I will reiterate just now, it's very important, I think, for you to own your property. I mean, when you own a home, you're building wealth. Wealth for you, not for the landlord, not for the big company that has the apartment complex. You're building it for you. And a lot of times the monthly mortgage payment is less than the rent payment that you're making. So I mean, it just makes sense, right? Why would you give someone else that money? Why would you build equity for someone else? Now, you might say, well, I just don't have 20% down. You don't have to have 20% down. There are programs as low as 3%. There's also programs I just mentioned that have grants where you can end up putting down very, very little. So please check into that. Talk to your realtor, talk to a lender, and find out exactly what you need to do. And another, I think, myth is that, well, you're not ready to buy, so why talk to a lender? It's very important to go ahead and talk to a lender to find out exactly what you can buy and what your credit score is and how it affects your interest rate. And if you don't think you have good enough credit, they are going to help you figure out how to get that score up and how to get the credit, how to get you credit ready so that you can own a home. I mean, that's the goal, right? Start working on it now. Don't wait till the last minute. Don't wait till you find the perfect house and then find out, well, you knew you need a few more months to get this straightened out or that straightened out. Or did you know this was on your credit report and how can we fix it? So please do not wait. Get started with that. Now, once you've done those two things, you need to start thinking about the extra money you're going to need for closing. There are some closing costs. Some of those can be negotiated, so don't let that scare you either. But there will be closing costs with the title company, with your lender, appraisals, surveys. And I don't mean to overwhelm you, but those are all manageable. Those are all things that are taken care at closing that you're not going to have to pay for on from day one. So again, talk to your lender, talk to your realtor, get the facts. Don't listen to people that are not in the industry. Trust me, you need to get right from the horse's mouth, as they say. So next of all, you need to start thinking about what you want to buy. Once you've figured out how much you can afford, then do you want a single family home? Do you want a townhouse? Do you want a condo? Do you want to be in a multiplex, in a high rise? What is your preference? What can you afford? What are the amenities? Do you really need that fourth bedroom? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Start looking at homes. Talk to your realtor, study some neighborhoods, explore some neighborhoods. And if you think you found one that you really like, drive through that neighborhood at different times of the day. Make sure it's really an area you're comfortable with. I know if you have children, you're going to want to talk about school districts. If you're someone that, let's say, doesn't like to cook, I hope there are restaurants nearby. Whatever your lifestyle is, they will help you. The realtor should be able to help you direct you to the right area and explore areas. Don't get tunnel vision, because I can't tell you how many times a client told me I have to have X, Y, and Z, and we looked at something else. They bought something totally different or different enough, and they didn't know that they wanted the other items, or they didn't know they didn't need the other items till they actually saw it. So keep open-minded. Make sure you're going in the right direction. Figure out exactly what you need and how you need it. A house that's 2,000 square feet in one floor plan will look differently than 2,000 feet in another floor plan. So again, explore. Don't just think you know everything. You've got to actually go out and see it. And don't rely on the photos. I always have a professional photographer take the photos. Sometimes they look better than they do in real life, and sometimes they don't look as good as they do in real life. And if they're taken by an iPhone, they're not going to look good at all. So that's another thing to keep in mind. You've got to go see it. Every picture doesn't always tell the story, as Rod Stewart would say in his song. So you need to see it in person. Okay, the buying process. Once you find a home that you like and you want to put an offer on, your realtor is going to have you sign a lot of paperwork. It's going to seem overwhelming. The first time I bought my house, I was overwhelmed, so I know exactly what you're going through, but you got to go through it. These are Texas documents. They're vetted by the state. They're produced by lawyers and brokers. These are the documents we use. We didn't make them up last night as we were watching a TV show. So just bear with your realtor, go through all the documents, let them explain it to you, what it is, what there's a wire fraud notice. If you're buying on the lake, there's a water level notice. There's all kinds of documents depending on where you're buying. Don't get overwhelmed. It's part of the process. Let him or her walk you through it. Then your offer is going to be submitted. Now you want to have your agent do some comparable sales analysis so that you make a good offer, that you make a realistic offer. And depending on the market, you may need to go full price, you go underprice, overprice. Again, talk to your realtor. It depends on what's going on in the market at the moment. At the moment, we're swinging towards a buyer's market, where 2 years ago we were in a seller's market. So there are different strategies and different negotiations for each of those scenarios. Talk to your realtor, listen to your professional realtor. And now time for a short break.
Dreaming of transforming your space? At Broderick Dean Construction, we bring your vision to life with our seamless design build approach. Locally owned and operated in Tomball and surrounding areas, Broderick Dean Construction is a family business built on craftsmanship and care. Specializing in aging in place design and multi-generational living, we create spaces that grow with you, timeless, functional, and beautiful. From remodels to custom home builds to commercial construction projects, our design build approach brings your vision to life with expert guidance every step of the way. Schedule your design build consultation today at broderickdean.com to get started.
Make your offer. There's more to an offer than just the price. Okay, there's all kinds of earnest money, there's inspections and periods and money you put down, there's settlement costs, there's home warranties. There are lots of different parts to the contract and to the offer. So don't just think if you offer this price, nothing else matters. It does matter. And it matters to the homeowner. So go through each section with your realtor, let them explain the importance of each section, because that's what the agent that represents the seller is going to be doing. They're going to be analyzing everything. And if it's in a multiple offer situation, those details are going to be even more important. So that's your next step. Now, there's no money down until there's an executed contract. An executed contract means everybody is signed and it's dated. It's done deal. So don't worry about having to write a check until that happens. What checks would you have to write? Well, there's earnest money. Typically, everything is negotiable in a contract, but typically it's 1% of the sales price. And that goes to the title company to be held until closing or until, let's say, you decide during the option period you're not going to buy the house. There are different scenarios, or you don't qualify for the loan. Lots of different scenarios. The option fee is money you're giving to the seller to make the listing. It's not off market, but it will be shown as option pending on MLS, and therefore, at least in this house done in Texas, therefore other buyers and agents will be reluctant to show your home. So this is kind of compensation for that. Now, if you go to closing, you get that money back. And again, that amount is negotiable. If you don't go to closing and you back out or something falls through, the seller keeps that amount, but it's a smaller amount than the earnest money, obviously. And you want to make sure you hit all of those deadlines. Make sure that your agent has gone over all those deadlines with you. These deadlines are not negotiable. So don't think, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow. No, you got to do it right then when they say. Some of them are due by 5 p.m., some by 11:59 p.m. of that day. Follow those dates. Make your agent give you a list of those dates. I always give my clients a list of the important dates. And I usually tell them, don't worry about it. I'm going to keep on top of it and keep on top of you to make sure you don't miss them. But you need to know what those dates are. And also, let me say, once you go into contract, don't buy anything. Yes, you got to buy food and gas and blah, 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 all that sort of thing. Don't go out and go, oh, I want to buy a different refrigerator or washer dryer. Let me get a new car because my car doesn't fit in the garage. Don't buy anything because that could just destroy the whole deal. You can buy all that stuff after you close on your sale. Again, talk to your realtor and talk to your lender about that. Now, once you go into contract, there's an option period typically. You may have 5 days, 7 days, 2 days, whatever, 10 days, whatever you negotiate with the two sides. And that's the time period in which you do all of your inspections, your mechanical and structural inspections, and any other inspections that you and the agent deem necessary or the inspector suggests that you need. Now, the inspection could be 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. It depends on the size of the house or the condition of the house. You're going to get a big report. Don't panic. It's a lot of information. And an inspector's job, which you hire that inspector to do as a buyer, is to find anything and everything that might be wrong with that house. Now, some of them are going to be important and some of them are not. I've had inspectors write down that, call an electrician, that light doesn't work. Well, the light bulb was burned out. So hopefully the sellers replaced all the light bulbs before the inspection, but don't panic when you read some of these things. Some of them can be explained. Some of them are simple and easy corrections. All right. Some of them may not be. Again, got to go over this with your inspector, go over this with your realtor and find out what you do or do not want to do. You may ask for the seller to do repairs. You may ask for the seller to give you compensation so you can do the repair when you buy the home. It all depends on what works for you, what works for the seller, and what the severity of the issues are. Okay. So now let's say you've got through the option period. Now you're going through a closing. Hopefully, all along, when your lender has asked you for some paperwork, you've gotten it to them immediately. And I do mean immediately. And that starts from the minute you go under contract. Actually, it could start from the minute you decide which lender you're going with. Get them all the documents you can as fast as you can, because you're going to have a negotiated number of days to get your loan finalized. It could be 5 days, 10 days, 21 days to get all of this done. But if you don't get the paperwork to them on time or right away, they're not going to have time to process it. And that could affect the ability for you to buy that house. So these are things you have got to do right away. This is a very busy time and you've got to stay on top of it. I know you've got other things going on in your life, but trust me, you've got to carve out 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it takes to get that paperwork to your lender. It's extremely important. Okay, let's say you've done all that. You're approved for the house. Let's say it's day 21 and everything's moving forward. There's also the appraisal. The home has to appraise for the value that you've contracted for. Hopefully it'll appraise for more. Hopefully it will appraise at value. If it appraises for less than value, that's another issue. You're going to have four choices. You can bring more money to the table to make up the difference between the appraised value and the value that you contracted. Let's say, for instance, it appraises for 190 and the price of the house is 200. There's a $10,000 gap. Okay, your lender's not going to loan you more than 190. So either you bring 10,000 to the table, or you ask the seller to lower the price of the house to 190, or you each meet in the middle. You bring five, they lower five, or you walk away. Those are your choices. And you just got to make a choice. Hopefully it will not be a situation you find yourself in, but if it is, those are your choices and you've got to make one. And only you can make that. You can certainly talk to your lender, talk to your agent, talk to your parents, what your friends, whatever, but that's a decision you've got to make. Let's assume it appraises and you move forward. There's also a survey which is ordered by the title company. That's typically not an issue, but you want to make sure that the lines of the house are built properly and not over the property line, under the property line, not built too close, too far, all different things. You want to see where the easements are. The utility easements means you could certainly plant a flower there, but don't put any concrete there. You don't put anything permanent in an easement, so you need to know where those are. It's very important to figure that out, and the title company will also say, hey, I think this looks pretty good, but you have final say. So that's the title. So now you're headed for closing. Again, let me remind you, don't buy anything. I know you need a refrigerator. Buy it after closing. They'll deliver it the next day. Don't worry about it. Okay. Don't spend any large amount of money. Do not change jobs. Do not buy a car. Do not do any of that stuff. Make sure you're constantly in conversation with your lender and your realtor. Okay, so you're ready to go to closing. You'll talk to the title company. They'll tell you whether to wire the funds that you owe or have a cashier's check, that sort of thing. There's also a wire fraud notification, which you'll need to go over with your agent. Never ever just assume from an email that it's coming from the title company. Just don't send personal information over line. You get the email, you do nothing. You call the title company and say, hey, did you just send this email? Verify that it's actually them. Sometimes the email will look like it's from a title company, but it's actually not. So be cautious. You don't want to lose any money on this or create any problems. So then you go to title. You've got to make sure you go to closing. You've got to make sure you bring a valid ID. I've been to closings where they went, oh my goodness, my license has expired. You're not closing with an expired license. It's not going to happen. Bring a passport, any kind of valid ID, Texas driver's license or your state driver's license, and or a passport, anything that's valid, has not expired. And you go to closing, you're going to, as a buyer, typically, if you're getting a loan, you're going to sign a lot of papers. Again, don't panic. It's all part of the process. It's a lot of signing. It'll be okay. Once you've signed, everybody has signed, the title company has all the signatures and all the documents, then they've got to fund the deal, fund the sale. They will send all the documents to your lender. Your lender reviews all the documents. They say, yes, you signed everything correctly. Okay, here's the money, release it. The minute the title company has authority to release the money, you're a homeowner. You will get the keys. Congratulations. It was a long process and a stressful process, but that's what happens. And then you will need to file, once you do that, then you will need to make sure the appraisal district, the county appraisal district has your new name and ownership. Make sure that you file for your homestead exemption. If this one applies, it could be a second, it could be a second home, but make sure maybe you have a veterans discount. Yeah, homestead exemption. Maybe you have a senior exemption, whatever exemption you're eligible for. Go ahead and file that immediately. You cannot do it though until your driver's license address, the address on your driver's license, matches the property address. So as soon as you own the home, go ahead and get those things started. You can usually do it online here in Texas. So that's the process in a nutshell. It's a lot. It's worth every minute of stress, every minute of signing paperwork. And if you've got a good realtor and a good lender, it won't be that stressful. So hopefully everything will go well. You'll be successful and you'll be owning a home, gaining wealth, gaining equity for you and not someone else. So get started. It's never too late and it's never too early. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to the Real and Real Estate Podcast. I hope today's insights have inspired and empowered you. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share the podcast with anyone who might benefit. Have questions or a topic you'd like us to explore? We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and keep moving towards success.